There is a myth that supposedly Lenin invented Ukraine and in general created the Ukrainian identity, but this is far from the truth. Therefore, in this video we will talk about why Lenin did not invent Ukraine and how Ukrainian national identity developed in general. At the beginning, let's talk a little about the Ukrainian national movement. The Ukrainian national movement originated from the moment of the uprising of Bogdan Khmelnytsky against the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. It was then that the Hetmanate was formed and national identity began to appear. However, the rapid development of the Ukrainian national movement was already centuries later, namely in the 19th and 20th centuries. As among other European nations, the 19th century for Ukrainians became the century of the formation of Ukrainian identity and the emergence of national identity. So it was then that all kinds of Ukrainian organizations began to arise, usually secret and revolutionary, but all were on a national basis. So in 1821, a Little Russian secret partnership appeared on the territory of the Russian Empire, which aimed to separate Little Russia from the empire. In 1846, the well-known Cyril and Methodius Brotherhood was created, in which Taras Shevchenko was a member. The Brotherhood was based on the idea of Ukrainian national revival and pan-Slavism. It was particularly influenced by the so-called Springtime of the Peoples, which took place in Europe at that time. In 1848 to 49, revolutions took place throughout Europe, mainly of a national liberation nature. Already at the end of the 19th century, the Brotherhood of Terrasovites appeared, also aiming to create an independent Ukrainian state. Similar processes took place in the western part of Ukraine, which was then under the rule of Austria-Hungary. There, in 1848, a legal Ukrainian political party called Galovna Ruska Rada was even created, the main purpose of which was to protect the interests of the Ukrainian people, but it was closed already in 1841. In general, the entire 19th century was marked by the growth of the Ukrainian national movement. Dozens of Ukrainian organizations began to appear both on the territory of Russia and on the territory of Austria-Hungary, which were engaged in political and cultural educational activities. At the turn of the century and at the beginning of the 20th century, Ukrainian national movements began to take shape into full-fledged political parties representing the interests of the Ukrainian people. So on the territory of the Russian Empire, there were the Revolutionary Ukrainian Party, the Ukrainian Democratic Party, the Ukrainian Radical Party, and a number of others. The parties were quite diverse in their vision of the Ukrainian future. Some were more radical and longed for independence. Some were more moderate and agreed to autonomy with Russia. Anyway, the parties were nationally oriented and built on the Ukrainian national idea. It was the same in Austria-Hungary, where Ukrainian parties also began to appear. For example, the Ukrainian Social Democratic or Christian Public Party. As for real actions, not only movements and ideologies, the Ukrainian national movements was able to manifest itself thanks to the two revolutions of 1917. After the February Revolution, the Central Rada was created, which soon assumed the functions of the main legislative body of Ukraine. Moreover, it unilaterally declared the creation of autonomy on the territory of Ukraine. The Ukrainian Central Rada negotiated with the provisional government, but did not achieve the status of autonomy. As you know, the provisional government did not last long, and was overthrown as a result of the October Revolution. After this revolution, the Central Rada proclaimed the creation of Ukrainian People's Republic, although also as part of Russia. The Bolsheviks attempted an uprising in Kiev, but it failed. By the end of 1917, the Central Rada declared full independence of Ukraine from Russia. It controlled only part of the declared lands, and more than that, every day the Ukrainian People's Republic only lost its lands due to the Bolshevik offensive. In connection with this, The Ukrainian leadership goes to negotiations with the Central Powers and already in February 1918 signed the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk, according to which the UPR becomes essentially under the protectorate of Germany. After the coup, the Ukrainian People's Republic is generally transformed into a Ukrainian state headed by Skoropadsky. Thus, the newly formed state of Ukraine gains control over its lands. The Germans helped to dislodge the Bolsheviks from Ukrainian lands and gains international recognition of a number of countries, mainly from the bloc of Central Powers. As we can see, the appearance of the first Ukrainian national state did not happen thanks to Bolsheviks, but even in spite of. The main impetus for its creation and separation from Russia was the Bolshevik coup, but the Ukrainian state was not able to exist for a long time, as mentioned above. Its existence was actually completely dependent on the Germans. And with the end of the First World War, the Ukrainian state loses its lands and soon virtually disappears from the maps of the world. The Ukrainian People's Republic made attempts to revive itself even before 1921, but generally unsuccessful. Most of the declared lands eventually fell under the power of the Bolsheviks. The Entente countries after the end of the war did not support the creation of an independent Ukrainian state. It's worth saying a few words about the West Ukrainian People's Republic. It was created as a result of the collapse of Austria-Hungary and planned to unite with the aforementioned Ukrainian People's Republic. However, it also did not last long, and its lands were torn between Poland, Romania, and Czechoslovakia. So, as for Lenin, as he found out, he was not the creator of the idea of independence of Ukraine. The idea takes its roots with the beginning of the growth of national ideas in the 18th century and even leads to the creation of such independent state, albeit for a short time. However, at the same time, Lenin and the communists played an important role in the formation of the territory of modern Ukraine and in strengthening its statehood. After the end of the Civil War, the formation of national borders began. So already in the 1920s, the eastern borders of the Ukrainian Soviet Socialist Republic were formed. By the way, the formation of the borders was based on nationality, and after the Second World War, the final western and southern borders of the Ukrainian state were fixed. Polish, Czechoslovak, Hungarian, and Romanian lands, where Ukrainians lived, were annexed. The last territorial change was the transfer of Crimea to Ukraine in 1954, but I will tell you about this in another video. Summarizing all of the above, we can say that Lenin, although he was not the discoverer of the Ukrainian national identity and the Ukrainian state was created for the first time without his help, he and the Bolsheviks still made a significant contribution to the formation of the borders of modern Ukraine.